really starting to feel bad for Stephanie Jenkins. I thought she was really going to leave that man, take her kids, and finally do something better for herself. But no, 2 days later, they're back to their same resilient Jenkins ways. Her King Daddy Drew's out doing gig work while she's in the motel room with all 5 kids, like they didn't just crash out on live the other day. And the only reason I was even feeling bad for Stephanie is because she is the bread maker in that family. So at the end of the day, she was the one taking care of all of those kids. So for just a second, I thought Stephanie might just put the kids' well-being over Drew's. But no, that is never going to happen. Especially after she looked at her daughter and said, "You have to get used to being disappointed." That was absolutely heartbreaking. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, the 10-year-old walked up to Stephanie and said, "When are we going to go to donut?" She looked at her and said, "Oh, Drew said he's not going. You need to get used to being disappointed." But in reality, she could be giving her kids a better life right now without Drew, making plenty of money off of TikTok. She could keep her car and it would actually fit her 4 kids. And Deshaun could actually be with his mother.
In a jaw-dropping moment that left viewers shaken, Stephanie Jenkins went live and casually confirmed something that most people would consider a serious red flag. Her 10-year-old daughter, Addie, has taken over the role of caregiver for the family's infant, while the baby's father, Drew, sits glued to his gaming console. Yes, you read that right. A grown man is fully immersed in completing virtual tasks, while a literal child is tasked with looking after a real baby. And this isn't some isolated moment of chaos, it's their routine. Stephanie herself admitted it. While venting during a live stream meant for couples therapy, she described feeling completely overwhelmed: the cooking, the noise, the screaming toddlers, the crying baby, and in the middle of it all, Drew, completely disengaged, too busy with his video game to lift a finger. Her solution? Let Addie, a child barely old enough to cross the street alone, take on the job of babysitter. And the most disturbing part is that Stephanie tried to rationalize it. She said she understood that Drew had things to finish in his game. Meanwhile, the real-world responsibilities of parenting were being pushed onto a little girl who should be playing with crayons, not calming a fussy baby. What we're witnessing here is more than just dysfunctional, it's a dangerous form of neglect, and both parents seem complicit. Let's talk about Drew. Not only is he unemployed, but he makes no secret of the fact that he refuses to contribute financially or emotionally. He brags about not wanting to work more than 4 hours a day for DoorDash, and even that's a stretch. His excuses? He doesn't like people telling him what to do, doesn't want to deal with customers, and flat out refuses to take on any job that involves authority over him. But that hasn't stopped Stephanie from treating his gaming habit like it's a full-time profession. She's bought him new games, upgraded his equipment, and even gifted him a luxury gaming chair, items most hardworking people have to save up for. In their home, Drew lives like a king, while contributing nothing. And Stephanie? She's the sole breadwinner, emotionally drained, and yet still catering to his every whim out of fear that if she criticizes the one thing he enjoys, he might leave her. It's clear she's struggling, but instead of demanding partnership, she's enabling the exact behavior that's destroying her. She's convinced herself it's better to stay with a man-child than face the possibility of being alone. And while all this is happening, Addie, their daughter, is suffering silently. She isn't just helping out now and then. She has become the default parent. Day in and day out, Addie is expected to feed, soothe, and care for the baby like she's the one who gave birth. And Stephanie confirmed that this isn't a one-off, it's how their household functions. Addie should be having sleepovers and art projects, not bottle feedings and night wakings. She should be navigating multiplication tables and playground drama, not diaper changes and emotional burnout. But instead, she's being forced to carry adult responsibilities because the actual adults refuse to show up. This is called parentification, when a child is prematurely pushed into a caretaker role that robs them of their youth. It doesn't just steal time.
Having to be a parent to your newborn because you, Stephanie, you decided to bring another baby into this world that you couldn't take care of. A family of 7 living in a motel room, 1 room for 7 people, 5 kids. The 10-year-old, who's the oldest, is having to take care of the newborn baby while Stephanie cooks and the toddler's running around screaming because Drew, King Daddy Drew, wants to play video games, will not help with the kids, has to finish his task in the video game. Girl, he's like 35. Has to finish the task in the video game. Don't even get to start the game.
I totally get it that it's fun to gossip about people, especially to have like worse lives than you, but like we need to stop making these deadbeat moms famous. Like we really need to stop. I don't need to have like this like hometown gossip in my For You page.
care of the baby. She's stressed out.
10-year-old daughter having to be a parent to your newborn because you decided, you, Stephanie, you decided to bring another baby into this world that you couldn't take care of. A family of 7 living in a motel room, 1 room for 7 people, 5 kids. The 10-year-old, who's the oldest, is having to take care of the newborn baby while Stephanie cooks and the toddler's running around screaming because Drew, King Daddy Drew, wants to play video games. Will not help with the kids. Has to finish his task in the video game. Girl, he's like 35. Has to finish the task in the video game. Don't even get to start the game. First of all, I would sell the PS5. Just me. I'd get rid of it. And guess what? There's no more argument because there's no more game. It's gone. But she can't get rid of the game because if she gets rid of the game, she loses him, which is crazy. That's crazy. The fact that your man is going to leave you if you get rid of his PS5 because we know that that's what's going on.
It steals self-worth. It causes long-term emotional damage, and sadly, kids like Addie often grow up thinking this is what love looks like, sacrificing yourself completely to be useful. She's likely filled with feelings she can't even name yet: frustration, guilt, sadness, maybe even resentment. But being just a child, she doesn't know how to express any of it. When she tries, she's likely met with more commands. Go help with the baby. Keep it down. I'm busy. Over and over again, her needs are dismissed in favor of chores she should never have been handed. And then, as if all of that weren't heartbreaking enough, Drew crossed a new line. During a live stream, he turned to Addie and asked her, on camera, if she wanted him to leave. Imagine being 10 years old and being handed the weight of an adult decision like that. That isn't just unfair, it's emotional manipulation. A child that age is not capable of handling the emotional fallout of such a question. That kind of conversation shouldn't even involve her. Drew essentially handed his daughter the power and the guilt of deciding whether he stayed or went, making her feel responsible for the fate of the family. That's not parenting. That's psychological damage. No child should be asked to bear the emotional burden of their parents' dysfunction. At her age, Addie should be learning how to tie her shoelaces tighter, worrying about what cartoon to watch after school, or which color slime to make next. Instead, she's trying to hold together a household that's already falling apart. It wasn't just uncomfortable, it was chilling. On a live stream meant to shed light on their family dynamic, Drew turned to his 10-year-old daughter, Addie, and asked her, plainly, carelessly, whether she thought he should leave. Not in private, not in a moment of reflection, but in front of an audience, as if it was somehow Addie's job to decide who stays and who goes in her home. And Stephanie Jenkins? She didn't stop him. She didn't shield her child. She just let it happen. This wasn't parenting. This was trauma being passed down in real time. Addie, a child, has been thrust into a situation no kid should be in. Her parents don't just fail to meet her emotional needs, they've made her a third party in their messy relationship. They turn to her when they need validation, use her as the go-between during arguments, and toss adult burdens onto her small shoulders, then expect her to carry it all without breaking. She's being emotionally exploited. And the worst part is, it's become routine. Addie's not being treated like a child. She's treated like a mediator, a caretaker, and a tool for emotional comfort. They dump their tension onto her like it's normal. They make her feel like her opinions can fix what they won't take responsibility for. But she's not a therapist. She's not the glue holding anyone together. She's just a little girl, and instead of being protected, she's being used. And this isn't new. Addie's been showing signs of neglect and emotional hurt for a while now. One message she once wrote to her sister said she hated her birthday. It made her feel forgotten. That one quiet confession spoke volumes. No kid should ever feel invisible on the one day meant to celebrate them. Yet when her own birthday came and went, there were no social media posts, no photos, no cake, no mention, nothing. Just silence. Meanwhile, Stephanie openly celebrates the other kids' birthdays online with full joy of balloons, smiles, carefully staged moments of affection. But Addie?
You knew that was not the way to handle that situation. There was a lot that I could say about this, and I'm on thin ice, so I'm going to not. But I don't know about y'all, but me as a mom, I am teaching my daughter not to accept nor expect disappointment from anyone. who claims to love her. But here's a list of things that your kids should be used to. Okay, they should be used to going to bed, in their own bedroom, in their own house. Number one. Your kids should be used to being able to go to school and go on field trips with all of their friends. Your kids should be used to getting to go to the park, getting to go to the splash pad, getting to go to a bunch of different free activities around your area, because just because we don't have the funds to afford it doesn't mean the kids don't get a childhood. Your kids should be used to not being involved in mommy and daddy's relationship problems and being, put into that situation to where you have to tell the other parent figure not to leave. Oh, and lastly, your kids should not be parentified to have to take care of their younger siblings because their own parents won't get off their butt and take care of the younger siblings. That's the good one, yeah.
She's missing from the love reel. Absent from the attention. Only remembered when there's a baby to rock or a toddler to keep calm. That's not just favoritism, it's erasure. Addie is being forgotten in plain sight. You can see it on her face. The kind of tired she wears isn't from running around the playground. It's not the fun exhaustion from a good day outside. It's the weariness of someone carrying more than they should. Her eyes look heavy with unspoken frustration, with sadness she's too young to articulate. She's emotionally spent. She's being parentified, expected to act like an adult when she's still learning how to be a kid. Instead of focusing on school, hobbies, and friendship, she's navigating stress, crying infants, and emotional landmines. This isn't just wrong. It's abuse disguised as responsibility. And Drew. He's made it very clear that he doesn't want to be a father, not really. At one point, he said outright that if Stephanie left him, he wouldn't fight for Deshawn. He wouldn't even try. That kind of indifference isn't a heat-of-the-moment mistake, it's a mindset. Deshawn isn't even Drew's biological son, and yet instead of showing love to a child that's in his care, he openly admits he'd walk away without blinking. And Stephanie? Her hands aren't clean either. We've seen her send her own daughters away coldly. We've heard the way she talks to them. One child was met with the words, "Get used to disappointment." Imagine being a child and hearing that from the one person you look to for comfort. That doesn't just sting, it stays. Meanwhile, their toddler is often left outside alone, no toys, no supervision, playing in the dirt near a rundown motel, not a backyard. Not a park. Just open ground, with no structure, no joy, just silence. And inside that same cramped motel room, all the kids are packed together, no space, no privacy. Sharing beds, sometimes wearing the same clothes for days. This isn't a phase. This is their reality. Addie is still caring for the baby. Day in and day out, she is the one rocking her to sleep, changing diapers, calming her cries, while her parents disappear into their own dysfunction. The weight on her shoulders isn't fair. It's unbearable. And Deshawn, still separated from his grandmother for no valid reason, is stuck in limbo, confused, lost in the middle of adult choices he didn't ask to be part of. Just like Addie. Just like the toddler. These kids aren't just falling through the cracks. They've been shoved through them. Then came the moment that felt like a turning point. Stephanie announced she was leaving Drew, and for the first time in what felt like forever, people actually believed change might come.
A new video, and apparently she loves her man now. She loves her man again. She's writing essays upon essays on the screen, talking about how a happy and healthy home requires parents that are working towards progressing. She always talks about progress and progress. We don't see it. There is no progress. You are just continuing to live in that situation. What I really didn't like about that video that she just posted too is the fact that she calls her man's job gig work. He's delivering Uber. That's perfectly fine. We like a man that has a job. But I really thought she was going to leave him. I was really hoping that she was going to join Team Desiree and Team Arlita, get her stuff together, and repeat after me. She was going to give Deshawn back to his mom. Again, give Deshawn back to his mom. And I really would like to see her leave that zero and just start a new life. Get a home and build yourself. And it'll be called Life After Drew. I think that would be a great show and direction to take your life. Not basically standing by your man. This is why you're going to say, well, you're so obsessed with her. This is why I don't like her. She does good things in that video. She does love her children. She combs their hair. She takes care of them, at least the girls, right? But she refuses to get ahead and put her kids in a better situation just to keep her man. She knows her man doesn't want to work, doesn't want to have a job, is only there and is only taking care of his kids because Stephanie Jenkins is making him take care of his kids. He admitted he would not be there for Deshawn if she wasn't there. Doesn't that tell you like his track record? He's had the other baby, right? And I don't want to like put they call him Peanut. I don't want to go ahead and give too much information because again, that's Arlita's baby, 100%, because Drew didn't do anything to get to that title of father. But he's known for abandoning babies. Like, that's what he does. And the first time he didn't leave Drew, he emotionally checked out. Like, yes, or said left Drew. Drew didn't leave Deshawn. Not yet. But he has emotionally checked out. And he's even said that, like, he'll give him back or not want to be with him if Stephanie Jenkins isn't there. Go ahead and comment and tell me what you think of her latest video, because it's just giving me, like, why did you lie?
There was hope, real, aching hope, that Stephanie would finally do what's right. That she would put her kids first. That Addie could finally just be a child, that Deshawn might find peace again. But what did Stephanie do? She posted again, not about her children, not about their future, not about a new beginning, but about Drew. About how they're working on things. About how they're giving it one more try, as if it's the first time, not the 100th. As if anything has changed. And that's when it hit, nothing was going to be different. The kids didn't get a new chapter. They just got a rerun. The cycle kept spinning. Stephanie admitted herself, Drew doesn't work, doesn't help, doesn't even communicate properly, and when he does lash out or emotionally distance himself, she excuses it, blaming his possible autism instead of setting boundaries. But even if that were true, what's her excuse for allowing the damage to continue? She knows he's not going to step up. She's seen the red flags. Felt the heartbreak. Heard the tears. And yet she still stays. Again. 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 Always choosing Drew over her children. This was never really about love, not for a long time. What we're witnessing now is something else entirely. It's about a woman who's convinced herself that Drew is the only option she'll ever have. That loneliness is scarier than being with a man who refuses to grow up. So she stays. She holds on. Even if it means watching her kids slowly disappear into the background. That isn't love. That's fear in disguise. And while Stephanie pours herself into a man who gives nothing back, her children are the ones being left behind. Quietly. Repeatedly. Forgotten like background noise in a story that's supposed to be about them. So what now? How many more times does Addie have to step in as the mother when she's barely past childhood herself? How many more nights will she lie in bed, trying not to cry, wondering why her mom keeps choosing chaos over calm? How long before she stops expecting cake on her birthday, or a hug, or a photo, or any sign that someone remembered? Meanwhile, Drew barely notices. He's parked in front of a game, locked into some virtual world while his real one falls apart. And Stephanie? She keeps going back. And every time she does, those kids feel the weight of that choice. Every, I still love him, becomes a silent, you don't matter, in their ears. So we're left wondering, will Stephanie ever put her kids first? Will Drew ever look up from his screen long enough to notice the wreckage around him? Or are they both too far gone to see what they've become? Let us know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. This story isn't over. Not yet. And sadly, neither is the damage.